Welcome back to Transcriber from Reddit. Today's topic is actually a website read, and it falls under positive Christian news. This is from ministrywatch.com. The article is titled, "Thousands Find Freedom Through the Foundry," with a subtitle, "Alabama Ministry was a pioneer ministry in addressing life-controlling problems on a wider scale," written by Bethany Starrin on June 4th, 2024. I begin reading. When Jackie Gann walked through the Foundry doors in 2008, he had nothing. Quote, "Nothing but a dirty t-shirt and a pair of shorts. No driver's license, no birth certificate, no social security card," end quote, Gann said. What he did bring with him was more than a decade of opioid addiction. Quote, "I call it my 11-year reign of terror of oxycodone and oxycontin," end quote, Gann said, adding that he had tried everything to get help: jail time, a state-run rehab program, and a private rehab program. Nothing had worked to get his life back on track. Quote, "I needed something way deeper than AA or a Band-Aid. I needed something to change the way I lived, instead of focusing on my addiction, to focus on my life. And that is what the Foundry did," end quote, Gann said. Focusing on each person holistically is what sets the Foundry Ministries in Alabama apart, Gann said. He spent the next 12 months in the Foundry's nonprofit Life Change program, which fuses together workforce development training, life skills education, and Christian values. Quote, "The Foundry has a very holistic approach, mind, body, and spirit," end quote, said Brandon Lackey, the Foundry Ministries Chief Program Officer. In the last 50 years, close to 23,000 individuals have come through the program, Lackey said. Quote, "The Foundry has been a catalyst for my life, period," end quote, said Gann, who graduated from the program and has been sober for 15 years. He is now married with 3 children. The Foundry Ministries was launched in 1971 as the Bessemer Rescue Mission. For 25 years, it filled a need in Bessemer by providing a safe place to spend the night. In the mid-1990s, when culture and drug use were rapidly changing, Bill Hines moved from Louisville, Kentucky, and transitioned Bessemer Rescue Mission from a 10-bed shelter to a live-in rehab program, Lackey said. Quote, "The Foundry was one of the first programs of its kind in the state of Alabama," end quote, said Lackey. At the time, the program was dubbed City of Hope. Quote, "It was one of the pioneer ministries of its kind to shift from homeless services to address the life-controlling problems on a wider scale," end quote. The Foundry expanded from 10 beds to 340 beds with 4 campuses. It featured both men's and women's recovery centers, parentheses, Lintier, our Bessemer's men's program, women's program, and the Foundry Farm, end parentheses, and 2 aftercare programs, including a transitional housing program called Change Lives Christian Center, parentheses, CLCC, end parentheses, and the Esther House, both of which are linked here. Rather than being a purely handout type of ministry, Lackey said they like to consider themselves a, quote, handshake ministry, end quote. They require participants to partner and collaborate in their healing. The handshake format rotates weeks. During the first week, participants develop workforce skills at the nonprofit, working in roles such as serving food, answering phones, or processing gently used home goods at the thrift store. The second week features a junior college-type environment with 10,000 hours of classroom education over 6 months. Classes include the Genesis process, a substance abuse curriculum that incorporates a 12-step program, Living Free, a Christian education program, Hope Inspired Ministries, a partner organization that provides education services in a classroom environment, 150 hours of workforce development training, and electives classes. Lackey said the Foundry staff works hard to band together with other professionals in the community, providing resources for its clients. Quote, "We collaborate with more than 100 agencies and organizations just in central Alabama," end quote, Lackey said. Quote, "Participants have access to immediate mental health services and free physical medical care through another clinical provider in town," end quote. Quote, "When they complete the 6-month program, people tend to never leave," end quote, Gann said, with a laugh. He's still here after 15 years sober. Gann started as the entry-level warehouse manager for the thrift stores and now serves as director for the Bessemer Men's Recovery Program. Gann admits some days are dark. Quote, "We deal with a lot of failure and overdoses," end quote. Gann said. Clients are excused from the program when they fail drug tests, but Gann's superpower in his position seems to be his ability to see the forecast. Quote, "I can see that if they stay the course and follow the process and do the things that are necessary, you can take a person that comes with nothing left, no relationships, nothing period, and start building that back piece by piece," end quote, Gann said. The biggest key to success in staying sober is establishing good relationships, said Drew Detter, director of CLCC, the aftercare men's residential program in North Birmingham. Quote, "These new relationships are the reason that I am successful and not getting high," end quote, Detter said, a 2013 Foundry graduate. When he got married 4 years ago, 2 of the guys in his wedding went through the Foundry program with him. Quote, "People pointed me in the right direction," end quote. Detter said they currently have 55 men residing at CLCC. Quote, "We see success when people stay at least 12 to 18 months. They have enough time to save that money," end quote, Detter said. Sometimes it takes a couple of years for them to get back on their feet. Quote, "However long that takes, we are empowering these men to leave their home again," end quote. One of the most inspiring stories is about Roy, Detter said. Roy entered with a credit score of 400. He had lost everything. After 15 months, he passed a credit report and landed an apartment. Quote, "He walked into the office one day and said, quote, 'I need to show you something,' end quote." End overall quote. Detter headed outside to see a 4-door 2020 Chevy Colorado. Roy had bought his very first car. Quote, "He was so proud," end quote. Throughout the years, the Foundry Ministries has had participants from 40 different states. While unapologetically Christian-based, Lackey said they have worked extremely hard to let all participants know they are welcome and accepted regardless of religious affiliation. Quote, "It is a place you can belong before you believe. You don't have to have a relationship with Jesus to come, but you still belong. There is no judgment, there is no shame," end quote, Detter said. Lackey added, quote, "It is a privilege to have a front row seat to permanent life transformation," end quote. The Foundry Ministries has 5 stars and an A transparency grade in the Ministry Watch database, linked here, and a donor confidence score of 87. Here ends the article. Overall, this sounds very positive. A couple of concerns I have are that they're teaching men to leave their homes, which means it's very much patriarchal sourced Christianity. And that when you have that kind of patriarchal idea and patriarchal blessing, it's not hard for these men to find ways to become addicted to other things, such as power in the relationship, and that can lead to abuse. Also, I like the idea that you don't have to believe in Jesus to be a part of this. However, do they pressure you to accept Jesus over the course of the program? Finally, let's look at each of the websites of each of the ministries that was discussed. CLCC is here. They show their expenses and they show their revenue. I'm not seeing any documents linked here, and the financial summary was last from 2015 to 2016. And that was the Bessemer Men's Program. Here we have the Women's Program. Financials, again, $990 last known in 2023, along with their audited financial statement. Nothing newer, nothing for the year 2024. They also don't have neither website has previous 990s or audited financial statements posted here on their website. Foundry Ministries, their 990 is also from 2023, as is their audited financial statement. Next up, we have the Foundry Ministries. They, like the CLCC, post their financials on the website. However, what they have listed for the last date of their financials is from 2023. both their audited financial statement and their 990. And here, the Foundry Farm. Their financials are also listed on their website, but again, 990 was in 2023. Their audited financial statement, 2023. I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but it's important to have multiple years posted on their website, and they don't even have their most current year posted anywhere for any of their programs. Going back to the article, it was last posted on June 4th, 2024. It was understandable when this article was written and posted that we wouldn't have seen anything about 2024's financials. However, it's been a year and we need up-to-date financials for all of these programs. Given how Ministry Watch is very attentive about their score, this should at least reduce the Ministry Watch's score of A for all these programs to a solid A- or B+. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you for watching/listening, and I will see you in the next one.